technology needs its pioneers. These are folks or organizations who basically make the first move of deploying them, of using them in their daily operations. And they do it even after understanding the risk behind it. But the work done by them becomes a benchmark for the future evolution of these technologies and also becomes a standard template for the rest of the industry. Now, today on our show, we have one such guest from one such organization, Mr. Sumon, who is the marketing head at the Hiranandani Group. Join us as he shares some amazing insights from his journey in real estate, his point of view on technology and the impact of it, and how Hiranandani Group, by building their own tech stack, intends to be at the forefront of this technology revolution, especially that related to artificial intelligence. Be back with Sumon.
Hi, Sumon sir. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thanks a lot, Digvijay. It's indeed a pleasure to be on this with you.
Amazing, thank you so much. So actually, I wanted to start off with your journey in real estate. It has kind of coincided with an era of transformation, right? Especially when it comes to marketing strategies. And you have already worked with some of the most marquee and well-known brands across the industry. So, but what interested me the most that you shifted from a financial sector to the real estate sector, right? Quite early in your career, around 2011, if I'm not wrong. So what drove you towards marketing, and that too for real estate?
Okay, thanks a lot once again. And so just to give you a background about myself before we begin. So I passed out from IIM Bangalore in 2011. And so in 2011, I got placed with American Express, and as you rightly said, from American Express, I came to real estate. So that was indeed a journey. So 2011, I was working in Delhi NCR, right, with American Express. So during that time, so talking about the shift into real estate. So during that time, real estate was basically a very closed and opaque industry for most of us. We really had very limited knowledge because the boom in real estate had just started. Maybe we were not part of the bandwagon at that particular point of time. Secondly, real estate was always considered to be a little, the buyers mainly were considered to be a little aged, a little mature, very well settled in life, because it's a very big investment that you're making. So very young at that particular point of time, we had very little knowledge about real estate. So secondly. Thirdly, during my MBA days, there were a lot of case studies also that were taught from various sectors like, FMCG, consumer durables, automobiles and all of that. But rarely had I come across at that particular point of time something to do with real estate. So that was the kind of background at that particular point of time. So when I really got an opportunity with one of the leading players in India in real estate, Lodha Group, in 2013. So it actually gave me, two things. One is the opportunity to explore a completely new industry, and it was challenging because having said that, very little exposure to real estate previous to that. So that was one of the main reasons to take up this kind of a role and this kind of a challenge. Secondly, it was about Mumbai, the city of dreams. So getting a chance to move from Delhi to Mumbai. So that was, I think, the second driver for me. But most importantly, what really kicked me at that particular point of time, that the learning, I did not expect, because most of the other industries, you have some or the other knowledge about how that particular industry works. This was a very nascent kind of an industry. So the amount of learning that you can actually get in this kind of a industry, in this kind of a setting, in this kind of scenario was the third factor that actually helped me to make this particular choice. Just to give you an idea about some statistics for our viewers and our listeners. So many might ask that what is the future of real estate? Why have you
Yeah.
stuck to real estate? Now it is almost being like 10 years. I will be competing in real estate in
True.
next year.
Yeah.
So what made me stick around for so long? So just to give some figures or some statistics, the real estate industry right now in India is valued a little more than 200 billion.
Mm-hmm.
Contributes to about 9% to the GDP. So, and in 2025, it is expected to contribute 13%. So, tremendous amount of growth. And by 2030, it is this 200 billion odd figure is somewhere expected to be 5 times by 2030. So, the amount of growth that is expected over here is humongous. Secondly, it is still at a very nascent stage in India, real estate. So compared to a developed market like the US, it has been, I think, more than a century old industry in US. But over here, we have been talking about real estate, hearing about real estate for say, around 20, 25 years at the max. So I think these are some of the factors, some pre-factors and some post-factors which have helped me to move into this particular industry and stick around also. Yeah.
Sounds amazing, sir. I could actually relate a lot to your rationale and to your reasons, since I also came out from an industry out of real estate. But now I can see how there's so much to learn and there's so much new things to do within that industry. And as you correctly pointed out, the growth prospects are amazing for the coming years. So I want to go back to the point where I mentioned that your journey has coincided with the massive era of transformation, and especially with respect to the marketing play. So what has been your point of view on this transformation?
That's a very interesting one, Digvijay. So I can actually, pinpoint two separate eras. One was the era of offline media ruling all our promotions, and the pre-digital era. And then the slow transformation into digital, and then suddenly digital, taking the center stage, basically.
Yeah, absolutely.
Post-COVID. But I would want to give you a much wider perspective in terms of the spectrum of change. So if we just go back, not 10 years, maybe just 20 years if we go back, real estate was just starting off. Real estate was a very localized, industry. So why do I say a very localized industry? Because the products that were being made single buildings kind of a thing. Very limited inventory, very limited, in terms of amenities and all of that. So it was all sold within the vicinity, within a very close circle. Then the product actually changed over time, and so did the marketing, and so did the outreach. So starting from say a wider range of networking with the brokers to classified advertisements, and then came the era of big bang launches, and this was after the 2007 crisis, when actually real estate took off. And 2009-10, you can remember that suddenly there was a burst of new launches, print heavy advertising, full page ads and all of that. So at that particular point of time, if you see, marketing was all about new product development, new kinds of communication, new style of communication, and the offline media was actually ruling. So when I say offline media, I would rather specify, say, print to some extent, and hoardings, a lot of events, a lot of activities like kiosk setup, exhibitions and all of that. And digital at that particular point of time was somewhere very neglected. It was a hygiene, and for most of the developers, even that was not necessary. That was most of the developers at that particular point of time did not even have a online presence also. Some of the grade A developers were having only a website, and that was all about digital. Slowly the transformation started when social media became a little more popular. people started having smartphones. Smartphone penetration was, gaining popularity. At that particular point, slowly the transition happened. So from a minuscule budget of the, marketing budget, minuscule percentage which was allocated to digital started increasing slowly. And I think by 2014, 2015, the transition had already begun, and digital at that particular point of time, at least for grade A developers, it featured in their plan. Previous to that, it did not even feature in some cases. So 2015 onwards, when this transition was slowly happening, 2016, 17, 18, this was a very tumultuous period for the industry. One after the other, demonetization, GST, RERA, this entire transition, and the industry itself went into a slowdown. And suddenly, the transition which was happening at a certain pace once again took a backseat. And then, we were hit, and on a hindsight, we see that all these changes, the demonetization, the GST, and this RERA, this actually helped the industry in a longer term. Today, if you see, the industry is much more transparent and all of that. So what happened really is that after the COVID actually hit us, everybody realized the importance of this particular medium, which is online or which is digital. Because at that particular point of time, nobody had any, you can't reach people, you can't communicate with people except for handheld devices. The newspapers were not reaching your home. You cannot gather people. You cannot send anything to them. It will not get delivered. So what do? You actually reach directly to their phone or to the laptops. And when you are actually at home, work from home or whatever you are doing at home, you're already every time you're on an electronic media. And that time, the actual, I would say, the transformation that we're talking about, the digital transformation, actually triggered off. And as I can say that was the pre-digital era, and this is the post-digital era. So post that, everything has been, digital savvy, tech savvy. So right now also the offline media, the print, hoardings, and all of those are still there. But I think, still, at least for the category A developers, digital is the answer to when you say of media spends. The first thing, what previously we used to do, we used to allocate budgets to offline media. Now it is just the opposite. First, it is the chance of the digital media, how much we are going to spend, how we are going to spend, what are the channels that we are going to spend, and then comes the remainder, which can be allocated to the offline media. So that has been quite a transformation. It has been quite a learning curve for us, for I think you guys also, and for the entire industry.
Absolutely.
And I just want to add one more point over here, that being at Hiranandani right now, we have already started this journey, and today we actually think digital first, and we have put in all the other channels a little, a secondary position, and the primary being, digital and online. So that has been the transformation. Yes.
Amazing. That's an amazing insight, especially what you said with respect to Hiranandani putting the other mediums on a second priority as compared to digital. That's really amazing, I think, for everyone who's listening. So I want to basically also know from you, as you correctly pointed out, there has been an era of transformation, first from offline to digital, and when digital actually started playing a part. In the recent times, or in your total experience within real estate, what have been some of the most amazing marketing campaigns that have really inspired you?
So starting from Lodha Group to the big journey that I have completed, there have been many campaigns and many launches that I have been part of. Some of them were hugely successful. Some of them were not so successful. There were learnings in all of these cases, but to single out any one of them would be a little unfair. So
Okay.
what I would like to do is that, the kind of campaign, the ideal kind of scenario I would like to, tell over here
Sure.
is that
Yes,
as a
sir.
marketing person, when you get to, choose, be with the product development and package the product and then take it to the market, then you are confident of, what exactly as a marketer you are pitching to the market, what exactly you are selling,
Yeah.
rather than the other way
Yes.
around when the product is already, developed and you're just
Yeah.
promoting it. So an
Yeah.
ideal cycle would be when you are actually, designing the product, you're designing the packaging, you're designing the strategy, the sales strategy, the marketing strategy, and then you are selecting the go-to-market strategy. That would be the ideal way of going ahead, and then you can be more or less sure that what would that you would be successful in the particular launch or in the particular campaign. So
Yeah.
very something like this happened very recently. So
Okay.
when we were doing Highland, which is our latest launch in Hiranandani Gardens, Powai, last
Yeah.
August. So we followed this exact same procedure, and right from product development to the packaging to everything was done, and it was well thought through, and then it was launched. And I think one of the most successful campaigns, I would say, would be that, because the ticket size was once again not very lucrative, I would say. It was a high ticket item,
Okay.
it was a premium
Yeah.
uh, in terms of the pricing and all of that, but still we
Uh-huh.
managed to do really well. And
Yeah.
even today that particular campaign is going strong. So,
Yeah.
and over there also we made it sure that it is digital first approach, as I
Yeah.
have told you. So Hiranandani
Yeah.
always thinks digital first, and then the other mediums come in. So,
Yeah.
what exactly the nuances, if I go on to, it will be a completely different discussion. So I will skip that.
I,
But yeah. So that's the way it should be. And I
okay.
think most of the marketeers in real estate would aspire to be part of that kind of a journey, where you
Okay.
actually know and you actually launch and you actually design and price and everything, and
Yeah.
then you are confident of its success, basically.
Yeah. Yeah. I think I totally agree. What you pointed out is basically in the earlier part there used to be silos in terms of the product design and the strategy and everything, and now everything is much more interconnected. And
Yeah,
you're
yeah.
looking forward the strategies in that format. That's really amazing. Now, what I also wanted to bring into this is when you're doing your strategies. Now, data analytics, as everyone knows, has seen a big rise in real estate in the recent times, in the past decade especially. Now, as a part of your strategy, what are the three top metrics that you decide that you would be tracking over the course of those campaigns?
Okay, that's an interesting one. So, see, there are a lot of metrics
Yeah,
that are there in real estate per se,
yeah,
and the top three metrics, especially uh, the sales, the revenue,
yeah,
the expenses, the
yeah,
basically the marketing expenses, and
yeah,
thirdly, what is the conversion? What is the conversion ratio? Right.
true.
But if I just look at these three, it doesn't give me a holistic picture. So
Okay,
there are certain other metrics also, like the cost per lead, the cost per
yeah,
walk-in, the cost per booking. So CPL, CPW, and CPB. So that's the
yeah,
second level basically. So how do you actually understand whether, see, there are two scenarios over here when I say, data analytics in terms of just the numbers. So when you
uh-huh,
suddenly do a campaign and you see that there is a surge in revenue and surge in walk-in, it doesn't
mm-hmm.
necessarily mean that your campaign has done well if you don't, study it thoroughly. So why, I'll
Yeah,
tell you an example. Suppose you have launched a campaign and you're in the vicinity, another particular person has also launched another campaign,
yeah,
and for some reason, you are getting that spillover. and maybe their product is not that acceptable, and your product is in the acceptable way. So you will get your walk-ins, you will get your bookings, but has your campaign performed? That you will not be able to understand unless you dig deeper. Yes, of course, you have got the revenue, you have got the walk-in, and you have got the conversion ratio also, but that doesn't give you the correct picture. Now you have to go to the second level, which is cost per lead, cost per walk-in, and cost per booking. The moment you see cost per lead, then you will see that okay, my cost per lead is not very low. So basically, my campaign has not performed. Something else has worked in my favor. And vice versa is the case. Similarly, you have to go another level. So after the second level, there is a third level also, which is like your how many walk-ins are coming from what sources, what is the revisit percentage, what are the demographics of the walk-ins that are coming in. So basically I can understand the TG, and of course how many are staying in a rented apartment versus buying their own home, and once staying in their own home, and what is the purpose of their buying this particular property. Are they buying their first property? Are they upgrading? Are they looking for a lifestyle change? So all of these metrics actually help you to understand where your campaign is performing, or is your campaign performing or not. And secondly, it gives a lot of insights for the second phase or the future campaigns also to decide the course of action. But to answer your question, the three main metrics, I would not say three, but at least 5 or 6 that I always put it in my dashboard is of course the sales figures, the walk-in numbers, the conversion ratios, and the 3 metrics, which is CPL, CPW, and CPP. That actually gives me a little kind of holistic picture in terms of what is working, what is not working.
Makes a lot of sense. Now I want to connect this the topic of CPL, CPB, and CPW that you mentioned. With the concept of the customer acquisition cost, right? Because I'm sure these are playing well into your customer acquisition cost. So how do you assess, and as I think if you can totally agree that it's not the easiest of metrics to arrive at for real estate, because of the long customer journey and everything. So how do you assess it for Hiranandani, and how do you incorporate all these figures into it?
As you rightly mentioned, customer acquisition cost is a very difficult one. Firstly, to measure it. So why I say this is basically because customer acquisition cost doesn't have a definition. It has got there is no official way of defining it. Number one, different companies define it in different ways. So some of the companies just might take only the promotional expenses into consideration. Some companies might take, along with the promotional expenses, the capital expenditure on sales and marketing, like building a sales office, building the model, show flat, all of that also into consideration. And then there can be a third angle to it, that whether we should add the channel partner cost also, and what percentage. Now channel partners are generally paid straight 2% brokerage on an average. So if I say that my marketing promotional expenditure are at 2% of the entire revenue, and the channel partner is also at 2%, so that makes it 4%. But then also it is not very straightforward. Why? Because you have to take a weighted average over here. How many deals are being done by channel partners? Right? So that way, it is not even 4%. So, and then there can be other things also, whether we take salary into account, the manpower cost into account. So, it's a very gray area. So, but the rule of the thumb, for most people who follow it is basically we take the promotional as well as the marketing expense overall, plus the channel partner expense also. And if
Uh-huh.
the entire costing is within that 5% bracket, we might call it, working efficiently.
Okay.
And this is just, a tentative direction. Now,
Yeah.
different companies will have different viewpoints on it, and different companies also calculate the cost of acquisition in a different way. So there
I
is no
totally
right or
agree.
wrong in it. So
Yeah.
it's a very difficult one actually.
Yeah. I totally agree. So I want to shift to the topic of the emerging technologies. Recently, artificial intelligence, blockchain, metaverse, these have been making a lot of, let's say, news in real estate, right? And especially AI. I think in terms of marketing channels, enabling AI on their platforms, Facebook, Google, right? So we can see a direct application. So just wanted to get your views on how do you see artificial intelligence impacting real estate, and do you see it? When do you see it maturing and becoming much more mainstream?
Okay, this one is a favorite one. So let me be very frank, because you know uh, when we say digital, we actually restrict ourselves only to the world of promotions.
Yeah.
So websites, landing pages,
Yeah.
then we think of social media, sponsored ads, programmatic, display, Google, all of that. But there is a world beyond also when it comes to the applicability of digital, which is, as you rightly pointed out, which is AI,
Yeah.
which is artificial intelligence. So most of the industries have actually, taken into consideration some kind or some form of the AI, and real estate has also, taken up, but it is, as with other things, it is in a very very nascent stage as of now.
Okay. Okay.
And in the coming years, or in the coming days or the months, I think AI is going to rule in real estate, because there is a lot that can be automated
Uh-huh.
in real estate. Human intervention, is something which can be, kind of utilized to a much better, use, rather than uh, doing the routine jobs of data entry or follow-ups or some of those things. So I think, yes, AI is going to be the future
Uh-huh.
in some extent or the other. And in Hiranandani, as I rightly told you also before, that we have been putting digital first, and of course, in terms of promotions, yes, which most of the others are doing. But we have also started, building this, AI based lead nurturing,
Okay.
as you say. So whenever there is a particular action that is being taken by the client, so what used to
Yeah.
happen previously is that based on his action, there used to be a follow-up which used to be done by a person. So
Yeah.
either through a phone call, or somebody needs to analyze the data and then target, okay, these many people have expressed interest, so can I send this kind of an information to them so that they can, you know, uh, find it interesting.
Yeah.
Now, what we are working on right now is that all of these, can it be automated
Okay.
based on the action that has been taken by a client?
Yeah.
Can something be done, an engine be developed,
Yeah.
where the next set of action which is relevant to the customer be
Yeah.
directly given to them, and he finds it very easy, very convenient, and all of that. So we are developing that particular thing today. As we speak, it is under development, and very soon I think we should be able to, some part of it is already rolled out, but the overall
Uh-huh.
module, we should be able to roll it out within the next, few months, I guess. That is the,
Amazing.
direction in which we are going, and I think very soon the industry will also, be taking it up more seriously.
Amazing. Amazing. Thank you so much for sharing that update on how Hiranandani, as always, is taking the lead in bringing much more, let's say, evolved interactions and engagements with the customers. I want to shift to a different topic with respect to our broker and channel partner community within real estate, right? So I ask this question as a basic and a baseline and a standard question to every guest on our show as to what do you think of the role of channel partners in the real estate ecosystem, and what do you think of the position of startups such as No Broker, who officially and publicly say that they are basically an alternative to having a broker? But so would love to know more about your positions on both the topics.
Brokers or channel partners, as they are fondly called in real estate, is an inherent part of real estate. You cannot imagine real estate without the world of brokers. So why I say this, you take up any other industry, let's say take up FMCG or automobile, or say some pharmaceutical industries. Now, can you really imagine these kinds of industries without the distributors, right? So it can't happen, it can't operate. So real estate also can't operate without brokers. And real estate is not only about a developer selling the first-hand property to a buyer, right? It is also about the resale market. It is also about commercial. It is also about a lot of other types of real estate that are there, land, shops, and all of that. Now over there, without brokers, you don't have any option. Nobody is going to help you resale. Like even when I say 99 acres or the Magic Bricks, which are really established online broker kind of a platform, they also over there also you have to take their help in actually reselling if you want to resell your property. So the first step would be to list it over there. Now, what are you doing? You're actually going to a broker who will actually make a buyer and a seller meet. So that is definitely there. Now coming to the second part of it, so what is the role of these brokers and the new age businesses that are coming out of these brokers? So now see, channel partners or the brokers, there are various types. Like you've got RCPs, like the retail channel partners. That's a very unorganized sector, and most of the channel partners would fall into that kind of a category. Then you have got a second set of channel partners, which are called institutional channel partners, which are more organized. They've got a more corporate-ish kind of setup. Then you have got I think the third would be your online brokers, the 99 acres, the broker, No Broker, Magic Bricks, Makan, Common Floor, and so on and so forth. Now, see, everyone has a different role to play. Now, coming to the first, part of it, which is the retail channel partners or the RCPs, that's a very unorganized sector. Like anyone and everyone, can actually become a channel partner today. So what does these new age businesses actually bring to the table? So they are basically aggregating all the brokers and giving a structure to this particular setup. So for example, whether it is No Broker or whether it is a broker network, which is a new thing that has come up. So they are giving a structure to this unorganized setup, and that's where most of the opportunities lie, and a lot of challenges also lie over there. Right. So now a very vague idea that I have is that suppose you go to a online channel partner, right? Say 99 acres or a year. Most of these listings are by retail channel partners over there.
Yes.
Right? And most of these informations are not generally not authentic. Like they would
Yeah.
quote something else as a price. The
Yeah.
the areas may not be completely accurate and all of that. That particular misinformation to some extent is there. It is existing. So what happens is that there in itself you see that there's an opportunity over there. If
Yeah,
somebody can
absolutely.
actually put in that effort, if somebody can actually get into the nitty-gritties and put the most authentic information in a structured format, like every building will have these three things mandatorily in a structured
Yeah.
format, and whatever you experience at the site, you also experience the same amount of accuracy whenever you are on the online platform.
Yeah.
Then I think that there's a huge opportunity over there, and
Of
to some
course.
extent some of these new players are trying to bring in that kind of a transparency. And
Yeah.
once that happens, I think home buying will be a completely different experience. Discovery of homes with authentic information will be a completely game changer over here. So today you
Absolutely.
actually know that whenever somebody says that a property is worth 1 CR, you माइंड में इमीडिएटली यू थिंक कि नहीं नहीं 1 CR तो नहीं होएगा, वो प्लस प्लस करके 1.2 तो हो ही जाता है.
Absolutely, absolutely.
Right? And that in itself, see, there is a difference between 1 and 1.2. It's a 20%, 20 lakhs difference. It's a huge.
Yeah.
It's a make or break. Now, if somebody says it is 1 CR, it has to be, if it is 1 CR actually, then it becomes a game changer. So that is how I feel. That's entirely my perception of making a difference to this very unorganized space. And I think most of these players are really doing a good job. Say whether it's a no broker, whether it is housing, or whether it is 99 acres, Magic Bricks, or broker network. Everybody is doing a great job over here, but there is still a long way to go, an opportunity that I mentioned.
Amazing.